We are still on that part, the part of examining history. And the book we are looking at today is this book. Have you read it? Samuel Ladoke Akintola, In the Eyes of History. A book written by Femi Kehinde Esquire. A classical work of history. If you read this book, you would understand why we are where we are. Incisive, written in a clear and lucid language. It's a great read. And here we are, examining, reviewing a chapter of the book. But in reviewing that particular chapter, we will almost go through all the chapters, because the history about Ladoke Akintola is the history of the Western region. It is the history of the crisis in the Western region. It is also the history of the first military coup in Nigeria. So welcome. Let's do this together. Honorable Femi Kehinde, it's good to have you on State Affairs.
Edmond, good afternoon.
How are you today?
Oh, I'm good.
Yes. So my guest is here. You wrote this book.
Yes.
Why did you write this book?
I started as a student of history in the university. For 2 years, between 1978 and 1980, I had sufficiently honed my skill in historical research and writings before I moved to study law. And I felt history has not been kind to its players, most especially in discussing the Akintola Awolowo tangos. One, because Akintola died young at 56. Awolowo died at 78. And Awolowo had the advantage of the media. Akintola, as a result of his early demise, didn't enjoy this. And the press, the Lagos Ibadan axis, were not too favorable to the opposition, which the Akintola tendency represented then. In 2016, when it was 50 years of Akintola's death, I delivered a lecture at the Trenchard Hall at the University of Ibadan on Samuel Ladoke Akintola, which I called Samuel Ladoke Akintola in the Eyes of History, a biography and postscript. The success of this endeavor, well-attended lecture, well-publicized lecture, encouraged me to go full blast, to go further into a very, very deep and robust research about the life and times of these highly misunderstood Nigerian statesmen. And in 2017, we were able to launch the full blast biography of Akintola, which I call the magnus opus of his story. It is enchanting, it is revealing, and it touches so many aspects of the personalities involved in the imbroglios, how they started their journey in life, both Awolowo and Akintola. Awolowo and Akintola were very friendly in the Nigerian youth movement in 1943. They both supported Ernest Nkoli against Samuel Akisanya, the Odemo of Isera, when Dr. Kofo Abayomi resigned from the Legislative Council to pursue a further study in ophthalmology in the United Kingdom. They were jolly good fellows. In fact, on this day, after the loss by Odemo, then later Odemo Fisara, he described Akintola and Awolowo as misguided youths.
Misguided youths.
Yes. And following these trajectories, Akintola left Ogbomoso in 1930, having qualified as a school teacher at the Baptist College and Seminary in Ogbomoso in 1930. He entered the school in 1925, and he was appointed by the Baptists as a school teacher in Lagos to teach at the Baptist Academy in Lagos. He was a teacher of biology, general knowledge, and science. And for 12 years, SLA was a teacher. He found the life of a school teacher, the drudgery of that life, perhaps lack of career prospects, very unenticing and unappealing. He resigned, and he first got employment with the Nigerian Railways. He was there for some few months before the profession of journalism attracted him, and he joined the daily service of Ernest Ekoli, where he rose steadily and became its editor. Very promising editor. He was editor, and in 1946, because he supported the colonial government against the labor strike of the coal miners in Enugu at the Hiver Valley, he was given a one-year scholarship to study journalism at the Fleet Street School of Journalism in London. He got to London in 1946, completed his studies, and moved immediately to study law, and was called to the bar in 1949. And if you look at the life of Awolowo and Akintola, you will see some kind of similarities in their sojourn. Awolowo also started as a school teacher. He was admitted to Wesley College, Elekuro Ibadan, in 1927. And that was the only secondary education Obafemi Awolowo had. And it was just 1 year of secondary education. He found the life of a thereafter school teacher very unencouraging and unattractive. And he deliberately failed himself in college so that he could leave the bond that brought him to Elekuro and went into a private life. He was a shorthand typist. He was a stenographer. He was a produce merchant. He was everything he could lay his hands upon.
He was later a journalist.
He was, before he became a journalist, then he was employed back at the Wesley College as a stenographer. After some time, he left and went full blast into journalism and trade unionism. He was secretary of the Road Transport Workers Union. And Obade Soja Aderemi was their patron. And it was through this relationship that he was able to navigate his way in 1944 to go to London to study law. And don't forget that Awolowo, whilst a private person, had studied by private tuition to obtain a university degree in commerce, Bachelor of Commerce, which exempted him from London matriculation. And got to London in 1944 and was called to the bar in 1946. You will see that Awolowo became a lawyer in 1944. In 1946, Akintola became a lawyer in 1949. Awolowo was born on the 6th of March, 1909. Samuel Ladoke Akintola was born on the 10th of July, 1910. You will see that they belong to the same age bracket. And if you look at their life stories, they had very profound pedigrees. Akintola's father, Akibola, was a textile trader who took Akintola and his mother, Akake Bolade, to Mina in 1914. He relocated, and that was where Akintola started his primary school education. And that was why he was opportuned and privileged to speak very many Yoruba, Nigerian languages of Nupe, Hausa, Igbo very fluently.